out that we are retired. And supposedly we are getting an interim superintendent, is that true?
I can take all your questions and then we can address it. It's more about questions.
So that's whatever. And I've heard that this interim superintendent is gonna be trained for about a year. I've never seen this. I've put 2 kids through this school, and I've seen 3 superintendents. I've never seen a superintendent have to be trained in more than 3 or 4 days. And I also found out that Mr. Bute's family would move to Peoria, and he plans on training him remotely and getting paid through this process. So we are gonna pay Mr. Bute his full salary for a year, like he trains an interim superintendent, which is another $150,000. So we are talking about $450,000 coming out of my taxes. And I'm very concerned.
Thank you. I see Jenny,
You want to call me Johnny?
or
that's
Jerry,
fine.
sorry.
I have basically the same concerns. I have additional concerns also. I think you all know who I am. We used to have a school here of about 1,240 students, with much less space than you have built right now. And my concern is spending money foolishly and recklessly, not only on this new construction, which I have no clue what the reasoning is. I tried to find out, nobody will tell me that. Plus, as Bob brought up, an interim superintendent or deputy superintendent, whatever you want to call it, totally unnecessary. I was here when we hired superintendents, okay? If you're gonna find somebody who worked at McDonald's and try to train them to be a superintendent, you can take a year. But if you're gonna find somebody who's been in school administration, it's certainly not gonna take that long to train that person, especially if that person has any experience being a superintendent. Hire somebody who's been a superintendent. Go out and hire somebody. On in, he got like open the other position. So find somebody else. We went through a lot of different places to find superintendents. Why would you spend an extra $150,000 plus have somebody working remotely at his current salary? It makes no sense to me. I've run business, I've owned businesses my entire life. That makes no sense to me at all whatsoever.
Thank you. And then I have Mr. Ryan Unity.
Yeah, I'm glad I came to the meeting tonight. I was excited to see, the new addition that you guys have done. It's been nice watching this unfold for 8 years. I don't think money has been spent recklessly here based off my understanding. I think where the school might have been really nice in the 80s, it wasn't anymore. And you guys, it's easy to be a board member and come on and just go through the motions and sit up there and, come to the meetings in your own free time. But what's harder to do is make change and do some of the things that you guys have gotten done in these years. The school's better for it. I think most of the people I know in the community appreciate it. And you guys should be really proud of what you've done here because, it's a better place. My kids are going to a better school physically than it was when they got here. So be proud of it. And there's a lot of people that support you, and I'm one of them. So congrats.
Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on to administrative reports. Dr. Bute.
Yes, so included in your packet tonight is my report. I do want to talk about one item on my agenda, on my report. ISB had a data breach here in this summer. It affected students that go to Prairie Grove and currently and former students. There's a little brief outline in the document about that. Part of the issue that arises from it is it's a FERPA violation. Anytime you release student information, you're restricted on what you can release and to whom. And when you do have a release of information, you're supposed to take the notation in student files. ISB, because they left data unprotected on their website, it was potentially viewable for a period of time. That becomes a data breach. And ISB is asking school districts around the state had students whose information was breached to then make a copy of the letter, put it in the student files, because ISB doesn't maintain these student files. All those files are maintained locally by the school districts. It's been very odd going back and forth with ISB. It's about 180 Prairie Grove students. Some are currently here, some are now in high school. So obviously we don't have those records anymore. So we've had to communicate with the high school and give them the information. It's been very, I don't want to say it's been very hush-hush, but based on the law, we're not required to report to parents if there was a data breach. So I kind of done a backdoor. I put it in the public agenda so you can see if there was a data breach. If the public has any concerns about it, they can certainly reach out to me. We'll give them the contact of ISB. They do believe there was no social security numbers breached, no financial information from students breached. I don't know. I didn't see the data when it was out on the website. They do claim that it is nothing that would be harmful to anyone other than a student's student ID number that's assigned by ISB. So it's kind of an interesting little twist that happened here this summer. Also, not in the report, this afternoon, the solar company that's been going to put in our array was on site today and marked off on the field where the corners of the solar field will be going in the future. So there's some progress on there. Still waiting on the interconnect from ComEd. As soon as they have that, then the project will push forward and move ahead with putting into the grid and the connection to the school. Progress was made. Any questions about any of the items in our report? Administrators here, they didn't have reports. School's back in session. We'll start seeing the reports again next month.
Do they know where that point of contact is with the leader is going to school?
Yes, it's going to come into the junior high side. That's where the main feed comes in. That's where it's going to go.
It goes to a transformer that's pad outside.
Out front, correct.
It's probably going to cut through or go around everything.
Well, I'm sure they'll cut through the paper and the asphalt, but then they'll have to put it back. Anything else from the board?
With the governor's act or governor's the few bills that he
Yes.
put in, was there anything that stood out to you or concerned about?
That stood out concerning. I mean, there's obviously the changes that Department of Early Childhood is a big change. It's money that they're spending for a new government agency. The election timeframe has been moved up by a few days. Nothing that's going to be earth shattering for us. Also, in connecting my report, you do have a copy of the construction finance report. The building is a substantial completion. We do have occupancy from the ROE. We are still under budget, which I expect it will be before it's all said and done, it'll be under budget. And now Wolby is here from ISB. He has a small report to give to the board on the debt research.
Thank you.
Well, I think something's doing that. Sorry, one more thing. I'm still curious about what that line underground and stuff, because we're on high voltage. I don't know, something, I don't know what the code is here. In the city, that's a pretty sizable trench, encased in concrete, colored concrete, so you know, you're preventing someone from later on
Cutting through it.
putting a soccer pole over there.
Sure.
It's a pretty,
Pretty beefy.
it's a pretty, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm curious if that's what they're doing. Because it didn't sound like, whatever it is here, it was a long time ago, when I asked him, he didn't really answer.
Okay.
Because he didn't know, it probably comes from their engineering department, I would
Right.
imagine. But if it's ComEd, I mean, ComEd specs, doesn't matter where you are.
Correct. It is a comment, so.
Just gonna get that info.
Mhm.
Sure. Thanks.
Before we jump in, I
Yes.
did have one question on the construction plan.
Sure.
There was, the quality control construction material testing. Like there was a bit of an overage there. Do you know what caused that? Almost double.
I'll get you a response for that. I don't have the backup data here from that. I'll get that information.
My guess is just testing agents, like, it's like a third party that works usually on the owner's behalf, which is the district, and then verifies everything that's being done up there. When you contract with them, it's kind of like a guess. You don't know how many yards of concrete they're gonna pour, you don't know how many soil lifts they're gonna do. So when they come out more than they should have, it's probably usually what drives the cost. It's kind of like a T&M thing.
Got it. Makes sense.
Not a-
I'll confirm.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to update you as far as where we're at. You recall, last month, you employed IASB, School Board Association, to conduct a search for deputy superintendent. So what I want to do is kind of let you know what we've done so far and where we're going from this point. Appreciate the opportunity to work with your district again and work with a few years ago when Dr. was hired. So it's an opportunity to come back and work with you again. I appreciate that. So what we've done is to put together an online survey to start to get some stakeholder input. And so there was pretty good response for it being middle to late summer. It's not always a great time to do a survey of staff and community. And I think the response we got was pretty decent as far as providing some feedback on just some things that people are appreciative about the district, what they see as challenges down the road, and also what some of the characteristics that they're looking for in the next deputy superintendent, ultimately the district superintendent. And that's kind of how we're looking at it in terms of the search. It's a little unique, although it's becoming more common, as I told you last month. There's some other districts that have gone this route, where they're looking at hiring, or they have hired a deputy superintendent to work with the superintendent who's going to be retiring after a year. This will ease that transition tremendously in the whole process. So we're finding success with that deputy superintendent position to then make that transition down the road. So the feedback that came in on the surveys, as well as the open comments, as well as comments from you as board members to the questionnaire that I emailed out to you. Most of you got back to me with that, and as far as talked to a couple of you on the phone. All of that is together in this report. This is for your benefit. It's not really discussing the session, obviously, because this is our survey, but I'm sharing this information with you as a board to show you some of the feedback that kind of collected, and then that went into we gleaned it to kind of come up with some of the top characteristics that we would be looking for in the search for candidates to present to the board. That goes into the announcement of vacancy brochure, which gets posted. PDF version of it gets posted on our site, linked to multiple sites, and so this brochure is ready to go. I mean, everything that's in there has come from the district as far as information about the district, about the communities that we serve, and about programs, and then also the characteristics that are being sought in your next superintendent. And so this will get posted tomorrow, probably. If there's anything that hasn't missed us as far as misspellings or something, which could be the case, so we might go to
I've got a couple of options.
Okay, yeah, which is great. In fact, if you come, I'll leave it with you, and if you come up across anything tonight, let Dr. B know. John, you can let me know tomorrow before we put it, get posted and get sent out to all of the different kinds of the job sites. However, as I mentioned last month, just by employing us to do the search and getting the position posted on our website just as a vacancy, just get posted as vacancy, that activated the application in the frontline system. So I checked this morning, and I think there have been 30 applications that have been started in the system. Now, anybody who's applying or is going to be applying is waiting for this to be posted on the site so they can see more specifically more about the district, as well as more about what you're looking for in the candidate himself or herself. But 30 applications have actually been started, which I think is really good at this point, because we're looking at keeping the application open throughout the month of September. And So once this gets posted, many more, hopefully, many more applications will be started and submitted, and they will, they'll be able to, once it comes time to close the applications, in, I think, October 3rd, maybe is the date, October 2nd, then we'll have a definite number of those that get submitted. Those will be the ones that we review, and we will conduct screening interviews of what we see as the top tier of those that have applied. And then from that, myself and another consultant will narrow down that group that we've done screening interviews on, and come up with a slate that I'll then bring to you in October, for you then to move ahead into the next phase, which would be the interviewing phase. I think your meeting in October, I believe, is October 15th. And so that should be enough time for the application to close, for us to conduct, first of all, screen all the applications, and then screen the candidates who we feel that we want to talk to initially, and narrow that down to a slate. So I would anticipate being able to come to your October 15th meeting and in closed session, present to you the slate of candidates and material that they've provided to us, and then talk a little bit about candidates themselves, and then we'll talk about the rest of the process at that point, things like that. So I think timing wise, we usually look at about a 2-week time frame that we need for screening applications and conducting screening interviews. I think that the 15th should be fine. If there's some, we got a lot of searches that are gonna kind of come to fruition at that same time, so. And there's also gonna be a lot of candidates who are applying for more than one of these positions, so there's gonna be people who are gonna be able to do screening interviews out for both your district and maybe some others who will be, have those at the top of those applicants as well. But I still think that the 15th of October should be okay as far as planning to meet with you in closed session, to present the candidates, slate of candidates to you at that point, and then talk about interviewing schedule from that point on, and so it's kind of a real quick look at the rest of the process. After the initial interviews, which would be after I present it to you on the 15th, those initial interviews, we recommend being done by you as a board. In this case, the board might want to consider including Dr. Butte included because this position as a deputy will be working with him next year, and so that might be something to consider. After that, boards often will then narrow that slate of 6 down to possibly 2, and then have final interviews. At that point, if you choose, you can involve, broaden the interview base a little bit more to possibly include staff or community, administrators, however you want to go about that. That's up to you. We can talk more about that when we get to the 15th as far as the rest of the process at that point and how you go about doing it. Some boards choose just to conduct the final interviews themselves. It's up to you, but that's something we can make that decision as a board when we get closer to that point. I think with the survey, the online survey, a lot of the strengths that came out were very similar as far as people responded. They felt that the district connects to the community, the families very well. The strength, they felt that the smaller class size was very much a strength. The buildings were considered a strength by the ones who responded to the survey. Some of the challenges, very common amongst many of the responses, and it's not uncommon for other districts. They felt that one of the biggest challenges was being competitive in maintaining and hiring teachers. And a lot of districts are finding the same thing, that it's just, it's become very competitive effort to try to find and keep quality teachers. As far as the superintendent, common responses include ones that are just good fiscally, also good communication, and engaging with the public as well as with the staff in a positive way. Those are good things. Most of the feedback was very positive. That's the good thing. As you read through these on your own, you can kind of take from what you wish, but I think for the most part, most of the feedback was very positive, and from all of the different entities that responded to the survey. I think that's pretty much it. I can answer questions you might have as far as where we go from here. This brochure will get posted, like I said, on our website, which is linked to IASA's website, which is very broad job training, but it also now will get linked to websites that post jobs for school administrators and other areas such as school business managers, the Open Principals Association, curriculum directors, and also then at the national level, in many of the states that we work with in conducting superintendent searches. So they'll get sent to link to their websites too for people who maybe are interested in relocating to Illinois, and especially looking for a district in northern Illinois area. They can look at our website and then find districts that have vacancies and they might be interested in. So I think that there's going to be a pretty decent response to the vacancy as we get closer to the end of the application period. Usually with applications that are started, like I said before, not all of them are submitted. Sometimes people just kind of start an application and say, no, they change their mind. Maybe they get a different job, maybe they have their contract renegotiated wherever they are and they choose to stay in the district. So generally there's often about 2/3 of the applications that are started are actually submitted. And those are the ones that we screen for. The ones that are completed and submitted, those are the ones that we screen to come up with a slate of candidates. So usually it's about 2/3 of the applications that are actually started. So I can't really give you an exact number, but when I saw that there were 30 applications started already, just from the vacancy being posted on our site and on the IASA site, that's a good start. Once this brochure gets posted, then it gets sent out very, very widespread. So that helped a lot too. Questions from the board?
I just want to let's recap on our strategy of like a deputy versus going directly. We have a lot of different things happening. Dr. B will be in-house during our deputy year. So, we are fortunate that Dr. B actually was our business manager and has a certification to do all of that, so we've saved numerous dollars, because we have not had the dual position of having a CSBO and a superintendent. And that qualification, we're still looking to have that single person do it. Typically, we know that, right, if you're in any administrative position that's not a superintendent or a sitting superintendent, that's not a typical, common feature of someone to have both the CSBO certification and the superintendent certification. And so we've saved a lot of money over the years by having a single person do that. And so thank you for doing that for us. So that's one of our things that we're looking for. We also have different other things that are going on with, staffing and whatnot. So, we're looking at the strategy to give an opportunity or see someone that may have been in administration at a higher level, but not necessarily a sitting superintendent. And then using that as not a training period, but obviously to do work that needs to be done during that year with Dr. Butte doing his work that needs to be done. And that good transition of hopefully someone that can do the CSBO and the superintendent position as one person. So it's not training, but it's, doing work together and doing different work. And there's more staff and more reviews that need to be done and those cycles. So that's, there's other things that are going on that we need to be mindful of during that year that's coming up. So there's a lot of different things. So that's kind of the strategy, but we also know that if we don't find what we like, we've talked about this openly, that we can wait another year and try again for the pool. I know 30 sounds like a lot, but sometimes, I remember this is my third time doing it. We get down and we're like, or someone backs out, or you're like, hey, we've been fortunate with Dr. Butte, we've been fortunate with Dr. Zimmer and others, but it can also be a difficult situation. So, a lot of positions are open and sometimes there's not a lot of people in the pool. And that want to be out here or be paid certain things. And so we're trying this year to see if we can get someone that can fit the qualifications, which we have high standards because we want someone with a teaching background that also has financial background. That's a complication. That can save us in the future, but that means that we start now.
And as we talked about this one time, I agree with you completely. I think it's, I'm finding that this is something that districts are very open to. I find that it's a very smart move, especially if you're looking at somebody who's got a couple of different unique skills, the financial piece, curriculum, leadership, all these things that in a smaller district, somebody's got to be able to do all of these things well. And working with somebody who's got that experience and has done that, in that transition period, I think that can be very successful for the district as then we move into the time when Dr. Good is retiring, that person ready to go in place. I think that when we work with districts who are hiring superintendent, they are getting somebody who hopefully has had some of these training experiences wherever he or she has been, but they have them in the district for a year. And like I said, it's not just training, it's taking on responsibilities that need to be done by leadership at the superintendent level. So I think that, when we look for candidates in the screening that we do, those are some of the things, whether they have a CSDO license or at least have had quality financial experience in their background. I think that would be a key thing as well. So, and like I said, the districts have done this and committed to it with deputy superintendent for a year. I found it a very smooth transition to superintendent following year as well. And like I said too, you're going to get a variety of experiences with people who are applying because it isn't a superintendent position, but you're hiring it as if it's going to be, and so that's a key thing. But they also will bring principalship experience, hopefully some district level experience as an assistant superintendent for curriculum, business, or whatever it may be. You may even have some superintendents who are going to be applying too. And so I think that's a key thing to have that as a preferred requirement, not a requirement, but a preferred superintendent experience or district level experience preferred is kind of a key thing because that's what we would do before we do the screening process.
And I mean, it's a lot different when you go from a big school district and you have like 50 people working for you in a district office to, hey, you've got your team of 5 to 6 and
Absolutely.
let's go and put on multiple hats from, to be a drive buses, to being a nurse, to being a teacher on Monday. So
Sure. Absolutely.
it does, I know when we've interviewed in the past and someone says, wait, what? I don't have all this to support me. But nope, you're going to be running the hallways and doing this. So,
What you need to be doing is looking ahead calendar-wise, after the 15th of October. I'm assuming that's your birthday.
That's our
That's
Yeah, so after that is when you as a board will want to be doing your initial interviews with your candidates. If you have the dates and time slots for those initial interviews for me even prior to the 15th, and I'll get contact with on that. And then we can go ahead and schedule those interviews for you ahead of time so that you know who's getting to go with the interviews with the Board of Education and have that in place already. What you'll need to start doing too is start thinking about interview questions, what you want to be talking to these candidates about. And you've been through it before, you probably still have the answers to the questions that I provided to you back then. But I'll send, Sean, I'll send you a list of questions and provide your boards as kind of a master list in which you can draw up. And, with your initial interviews, you're probably going to plan for about an hour to 15 minutes, maybe an hour and a half with each of the candidates. That's time for about 20 questions you should plan for. Introduction time, about time at the end for the candidates to ask you questions. So that whole time is really spent on about 20 questions. So each of the board members will be asked 2 or 3 questions. So you want to start thinking about that down the road as far as the questions that you have included in those initiatives. But I'll send you, John, the master list that you provide for the rest. You can draw from it if you wish. The feedback on this can give you some guidance in terms of determining questions too, but that's what it's for, to help you start as well. Anything else? I appreciate your time.
Can you just give us a brief overview on your screening process? Kind of what that looks like in terms of.
When we screen candidates?
Yes.
Sure, after all the applications are submitted, we look for the applications that have provided everything that's asked for. Letter of application, complete resume, online application filled out, which is very extensive, not just work history, but questions, usually like 6 to 7 questions that are included in the brochure that they have to provide responses for, plus philosophy of education, a couple of other things, and then at least 3 current letters of recommendation, and current transcripts, and current Illinois licensure to be superintendent. Those are things that have to be included in an application packet for us to consider complete. sometimes part of the, the third that don't submit, they don't submit because they don't have some of those things that they want. And that's okay. But that's what we look for, and then from that, then we start, I say myself and another consultant who works with me, independently, we'll read through all of the applications that are submitted as complete. And then together, we come together to come up with kind of our common list of what we see as the top tier of candidates, maybe 10 to 12. And we see, okay, they had district level experience, maybe either, like I said, as assistant superintendent, maybe superintendent, whatever, and look to see what kind of experiences they've had, see what kind of responses they provided, if they actually source sentences or paragraphs and so on, and if they've addressed the things that you're looking for, and they've had some experiences that you're looking for as well, like in reference to CSD or financial background, and so on. So we kind of look at all of that. We look at their references and the letters of recommendation they provided, if there are names of candidates or people that we know. We know a lot of people in the business and around the state. And so if there's people that we know, we'll contact them directly to say, okay, this candidate provided a letter of recommendation for you. Was it true and honest, or was it just a courtesy? And then they'll let us know, and they'll be very candid with us about it. Yeah, they could be a good candidate, or no, you really need to look at that to consider for here. So we do a lot of, we don't do background checks, we aren't allowed to, but we do background inquiries into these people that they provided as references, and also other people that maybe we know that know of them, but they maybe have used as a reference, or they know of these people. We'll contact them as well and say, what do you think about this person as a potential candidate for career office? And they'll tell us, honestly, if they think that they're good candidates, or they need more experience or whatever. Then from that, we come up with a common list of maybe 10 to 12 candidates. And then we'll conduct Zoom interviews individually with those 10 candidates. Myself and my colleague, and Ken, usually spend about half an hour or so with each one of them on Zoom. We've got some questions that we ask to kind of get to know them a little bit better. Some of them will know of them, or at least know them personally, but we'll ask some questions about their experiences, their leadership style, how their financial experience, what they're most proud of, their education, how they handle certain problems, and so on. Just to get a sense of how quickly and easily they'll respond to us with these types of questions. From that, then, combined with all the information that we've kind of gleaned from their applications, we'll narrow that down to a slate of probably 6 candidates, and we see as maybe the first. This is the first group of 6 that you should be considering. And they'll be the ones who then we'll follow up with some additional phone calls to where they work. Usually if it's a superintendent, we'll definitely talk to their board presidents, and we let the candidates know, we're gonna be contacting, they're gonna be at that level, in the slate, we let them know that we'll be contacting their supervisors. And so we'll talk to the board president, or somebody on the board, if it's a deputy superintendent, or if it's an assistant superintendent, including director, we'll then talk to their superintendent. Get feedback from them. Principal, same way, if they're a principal, we'll talk to their superintendent. From that, we'll come up with this list of 6, we'll say 6, sometimes it's 5, 7, but generally the boards are pleased with a slate of 6. Because from that slate of 6, they can after you interview them and review all of the material. You get a binder with everybody's complete application. That's a lot. You need to do your homework. You need to take these and read through their responses. They're going to provide you with responses. Everybody looks good on paper, obviously, but you as a board, you're smart to see through things that you can see through, or say that. This is what they've said. Now let's see if they respond that way in the interview. And then they'll be able to do interviews. You as a board will interview, narrow down to, let's say, 2 finalists. And after you interview all of them, you decide, okay, here's the 2 that you see as most viable candidates. You'll invite them back. And however you want those final interviews to go, which will be a little bit more extensive, more scenario based, you can have them do, come with a kind of a show and tell, a PowerPoint, or some kind of a, let's say, 10-day, 100-day plan for you about how they see it the first 100 days on the job. And you can require them to do that. In addition to, you can include other people in these final interviews if you wish. Parents, staff representation, community, union representation, it's up to you. And we can talk about that, but I can come back and think about how you might want that final interview to go as far as who you want to have. And then from that, you know, hopefully, is by consensus, say, you know what, this is the best candidate, this is the person we want to have, you know, as our choice. You can go do a site visit to his or her place of employment. Because it's a deputy, it's a little bit different, it's not, it's the superintendent, but you know, if it's somebody who you're hiring as a deputy, you certainly can arrange with that person to go and visit your district, meet with clerical staff, union representation, whoever you want to on the site visit. You send your board members to do that and kind of get a kind of a finalizing feel for, yeah, this is the person we really are looking forward to have. Prior to doing that, you would usually before president, contact that person and say, pending our site visit, you're our top choice. And you're not going to meet with these people. I'll give you some guidance as far as the site visit. Should you decide to do that.
Great.
Long answer to your question.
No, that's
That's kind of how we screen. If those six, and Michelle, you made references, if that person's just not there, but it's okay, because there'll be other candidates, and maybe might be put in that group of 5 to 6 people, but it might be somebody you would talk to, and might be worth, you know, more consideration. So, we've also reopened searches completely. If the board just doesn't feel, you know, we didn't like this group, we probably aren't going to like whoever else you bring us. Let's reopen it, and you've got the time for that. Like you made reference to that, because it's not like you have to have a superintendent in place on July 1st. You've got a little bit of breathing room because it is a deputy superintendent. And spread that out a little bit longer, and then if that person still isn't there, then you just could conduct a superintendent search, you know, for the following year, and we would do that for you at no cost. Because that's part of the commitment is that we'll do it.
It's it,
Okay.
thank you.
That's part of
More
our
than
strategy.
you want, so.
Yeah, that's part of our strategy, is to make sure that we have the right person and think about stability and transferring and just for everybody's sake, the teachers, the administration, our school parents, and
Absolutely.
not.
So from this point, you know, if you have a chance to skip through the brochure, you don't have to vote on to approve it. This is what we put together. And that's what we're using to have a decision. But if you see something that needs to be tweaked because it's spelled wrong or whatever, let John know maybe by tomorrow, and then if you could confirm with me tomorrow, either call or just whatever, say these need to be changed, and we'll make those changes. And we send it to our graphics department in Springfield, and they'll put together a sleeker version of it, and then have that as what's get posted on the website. For your September meeting, there's no need for me to come, it's gonna be better over the application process, but just prior to that meeting, I will email both John and Michelle as far as how many applications have been submitted so far, and give you a little update about where we are as far as numbers at that point that we can update the board.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other questions? All right, thanks a lot for your time, I appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
I plan on seeing you on October 15th, unless we talk differently. I mean, the only thing that might be would be if for some reason, you know, that we would need to maybe have a little more time in the screening process, and we would maybe need to look at a special meeting, possibly highway, I don't take that. But if you might have to have a special meeting just for this purpose, we would have a meeting. Talk about it prior to. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Let's move on to old business. May I have a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of board policy class 115 additional solutions to changes?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. New business, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes regular minutes from July 16, 2024, bills payable and treasurer's report.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote please.
David Costa. Stephanie House. Amanda Boyd,
Yes.
Steve Sylvester, Gwen Violet,
Yes.
Michelle Michelle, motion carried.
May I have a motion to approve the agreement with Sage YMCA for before and after school services for the 2024-2025 school year?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this is our annual agreement.
What's new into it?
The clause toward the end of the first page that is new this year, which allows for employed staff who have children that come to school here to get childcare from the Sage YMCA, provided they've signed up for it in advance, no charge for them for the time when they have to come to school before school starts. So for example, in the elementary school, if you have an employee who has to be at work at 8:10, but their child can't be here until 8:45, they can go to the Y from 8:10 to 8:45 at no charge to them while the employee has to be at work. That's new this year.
Okay, so, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the updated threat assessment protocols and team members?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Any changes or updates?
Of course, when you have change in staff, you're required to change your threat assessment protocol personnel. We've added new social workers and psychologists. Those names are listed for you on page 2. This information, once approved, then will have to go to the ROE. So they are part of the new law, is they have to keep track of it, so it goes to the ROE, so you have to make the approval for it. We have building level teams and district level team. One for each building, then one for overall.
Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the parent-student handbook for 2024-2025?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Are there any major highlights or changes?
Just an executive summary page, the first page, the first document, kind of a one-page highlighter. You have the boarding drop-off and pickup changes, with the new entrance on Valley View. We've reopened the junior high office, so if you have a drop-off something in the junior high, you have to go to the elementary to do that, you can go to the junior high office, which we're reopening that. School bus safety rules have been updated for 24-25. The rest of those things are all things that were mandated in law this past year. Discrimination, harassment, basically race, coercion prohibited. There's some changes there from last year's public acts. Puns is the prioritization of urgency for need for services. That's also a law change. Visitors complies with the most recent press update. And of course, the free reduced prices have changed with meal notification is required to be updated every year as well. Those are the major changes in the handbook. The full document's also there as well. You can see the full item. We didn't make that public yet, pending your review. We will make that public and mention that in the students and parents forum.
Questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to adjourn at 7:45 PM?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? I wish the staff and administration and students and teachers best of luck. And then also congratulations on getting our school in order just in the nick of time. This project was immense, so we appreciate everybody's hard effort. So good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Roll call now, or-
No, we did.
No, I haven't. You want to say something?
You said it. That was
I
great.
said it. Anybody else want to say anything? Nope. Okay. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,